Everyone, my name is Arnav Patel, and today I will be presenting on Cancer Alley. So here's a little bit about me. I'm a rising sophomore at Lakeside High School in Evans, Georgia, and I'm passionate about science and leadership. I'm a three-time Science Bowl national finalist, a USNCO National Chemistry Olympiad qualifier, and a two-time Amy finalist American Invitational Mathematics exam. I compete with my school's math team. I'm in Mu Alpha Theta and in Science Olympiad. And outside academics, I'm a two-time district honor band, alto saxophone, a Kumon program completer, and a paid lead instructor at Kumon of Augusta. I also volunteer extensively, over 270 hours, at Piedmont Hospital, CCBOE's summer school, and with the North-South Foundation. I serve on the executive committee of the Youth Board, which is a local nonprofit with over 160 high schoolers across our CSRA region. I'm also a Life Scout in BSA, Troop 119, and I'm working toward my Eagle Scout while serving as a troop instructor. And in my free time, I'm a third degree black belt, a CrossFitter, and a dedicated member of my school's marching band. So here's our outline where we will be starting with a background, some statistics, a solutions, and a conclusion as well. So, Cancer Alley is an 85-mile stretch of land along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and it is home to over 20,000 people. But despite its size, this region contains more than 150 petrochemical plants and oil refineries, making it one of the most heavily industrialized zones in the US. And residents here face cancer risks up to 50 times higher than the national average, leading the area to being nicknamed Cancer Alley. And so, according to Human Rights Watch, families living here have reported devastating health effects, including miscarriages, high-risk pregnancies, infertility, and the worst of all, cancer. But this isn't just a health crisis, it's actually a justice issue because most of these affected neighborhoods are predominantly Black and low income, with residents facing barriers to relocation because of property devaluation and a lack of political power. And so, environmental racism plays a central role within these families because toxic facilities are overwhelmingly placed in these communities of color, and these communities often have less power to resist or demand this regulation. So, here are some statistics that reveal the systemic racial disparities in environmental health across the US, and they're actually very central in understanding why Cancer Alley exists in the first place. So, according to the US General Accounting Office, 70% of hazardous waste sites are located within 1 mile of communities of color, meaning that Black, Hispanic, Indigenous, and other minority marginalized groups are disproportionately exposed to these toxic chemicals, and it's not by coincidence, but by design. And the Environmental Defense Fund reports that Black Americans are three times more likely to die from asthma than white Americans. And it isn't because of biology, but it's because of where they live, the air they breathe, and the lack of access to proper healthcare and clean environments. And according to a report from the US EPA, Office of Civil Rights, that are mostly white see environmental laws enforced 5 times faster than in minority communities. And this shows a clear lack of urgency and accountability when it comes to protecting these minority lives. And so these numbers aren't just statistics, and that's really important. It's these numbers represent families suffering and children growing up with health issues and communities being silenced. And so this health crisis in Cancer Alley is just one result of a much larger system of environmental justice. So, for a solution overview, we have two main solutions listed here. One is enforcing laws through political power, and the other is advocacy through social media. And so, in our solutions, we will be focusing on how us, as high schoolers, as future leaders, can help. So first, we need to push for stronger environmental laws and make sure that they're enforced equally, no matter the neighborhood, no matter the location. And as high schoolers, one of the most effective ways to do this is grassroots lobbying, writing letters to our local or state representatives. And it sounds simple, but it does work because telling them that we care about environmental justice and we are able to step up to that forces them to pay attention. And we can also email or call city council members to demand air quality testing and pollution transparency. And another action is to support environmental policies like the Clean Air Act or funding low income neighborhoods impacted by pollution, giving us a valuable experience while combating an important problem. And we can also partner with national groups that often have toolkits made for student advocacy. And so a first step is starting at school. So, for example, imagine launching a petition to get your school district to include environmental racism or something like that in the curriculum. That kind of change starts with us. So, a second solution is using the tool that we already know how to use, which is social media. So think about, like, for example, the Ice Bucket Challenge. It wasn't started by a celebrity, but it was started by a few people who wanted to raise awareness. And so as students, we can launch a campaign on Instagram or TikTok and use short videos to explain what's happening in Louisiana and across the US. And so students can share infographics, quick reels, or even short interviews. And participants can tag elected officials, news outlets, or environmental organizations to get more traction, and most importantly, invite others to join in. So it's like a challenge where one person posts and then tags three friends to do the same. So, our main conclusion here is that solving a problem as big as Cancer Alley requires more than just surface level fixes. It doesn't require, like, just fixing the effects of a problem, but actually going straight to the root causes, like racial gerrymandering, systemic neglect, and the placement of toxic industries near these communities that have been politically silenced. And so, my resolution process began with three goals, or key goals: passing stronger pollution laws, offering voluntary location for families living in danger, and most importantly, attacking environmental racism head on, not just reacting to its consequences. And so, as a student, I also tried to focus on what we could do right now. Launching a social media campaign makes this issue louder and begins to mobilize other youth voices to join the movement. But the thing here is that real change requires more than just noise. It requires leadership. So students can also begin lobbying for community leaders who prioritize people's health over corporate profit. And so this fight isn't just about one stretch of land in Louisiana. It's about the future of justice and global health equity in every single part of America. And we believe that starts with us students and the next generation of change makers. So here are my references, whatever I used for my presentation. And part of an acknowledgement is that I would like to extend a sincere thanks to Johns Hopkins Global Health Leaders Conference for not only allowing me to put together a project about an issue that I'm passionate about, but also giving me a platform to share my ideas, develop leadership skills, and learn so much more. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions or want to stay in touch or get to know me, please feel free to contact me or add me on LinkedIn. I would love to get to know you.